Mga kapatid, ito po yung ating pangatlong ligto sa ating second month on Mary, the woman, and above all, the mother. So, pakinggan po natin ngayon from the New Testament ang narration of the first Christmas.
While they were there, the time came for her to have her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now there were shepherds in that region living in the fields and keeping the night watch over their flock. The angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were struck with great fear. The angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I proclaim to you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. For today in the city of David a Savior has been born for you, who is Messiah and Lord. And this will be a sign for you. You will find an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was a multitude of the heavenly hosts with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to those on whom his favor rests." When the angels went away from them to heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go then to Bethlehem, to see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went in haste, and found Mary and Joseph, and the infant lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known the message that had been told them about this child. All who heard it were amazed by what had been told them by the shepherds, and Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart.
Alam nyo, bawat nanay, kasama rin po yung tatay, pero lalo na mga nanay, di ba pag meron silang unang iluluwan, firstborn, naku, months before, naghahanda na talaga sila para sa kanilang baby, di ba? Tandaan niyo, di ba? Remember that time. Alam mo, it is not the case for the Blessed Mother and Joseph. While probably they were preparing in Nazareth, pinatawag sila with the senses of Quirinius, as narinig natin sa reading, that they had to travel south. That took about a week, di ba? And now, gutok po ang town of Bethlehem, the town of David. Kasi siguro talagang the census gathered yung mga tribes of David. And therefore, while si Joseph was of that town, siguro talagang walang lugar in any place, maging sa mga kamag-anak. Just imagine po si Joseph, no? Hiyang-hiya siya sa kanyang asawa kay Mary. Wala siyang maibigay na dissenting lugar. Until nakahanap sila ng kuweba, a cave, na kung saan po tinatago ang mga hayop. Kaya nga siya nakita ng manger kung saan naman kumakain ng mga hayop, kamukha ng baka, kamukha ng asno. It was not really comfortable, but at least it was private, na pwede magluwal ang mahal na birya ng kanyang kaisa-isa, unang anak, pero kaisa-isa. So there was peace. Merong kapayapaan, merong katahimikan, di ba? Hindi, not for long. Kasi itong mga anghel na to, siguro mga 2 kilometers, 2 miles away, isang anghel, nagpakita sa mga shepherd. Alam mo mga shepherd, walang aral to. They don't know even how to read, much less to write. Pero alam nyo, sila ang unang pinunta ng anghel at in-announce sa kanila na dumating na ang Mesiyas. Eh lahat naman ng Israel, lahat po ng mga Hudyo, nag-aantay for the Emmanuel. So sinabi ng Angel, puntahan nyo dun sa isang lugar. Pag nakita kayo ng baby in swaddling clothes on a manger, siya yung Mesiyas. So, nagpunta kayo mga mga tawag dito, mga shepherds, mga pastor, namangha po sila. Namangha sila kasi, pwede ba ito ang Mesiyas? Pwede ba itong tagapagligtas sa amin? At syempre, sa kanila, politically, magliligtas sa kanila sa sa poder ng mga Romano. Paano kaya? Eh, napakasimpleng bata ito. Napaka-poor ng kanyang situation. Ganun pa man, manghang-mangha sila kasi anong sinabi ng anghel, siyang kanilang nakita. Ito maganda. Dinaistorbo na yung kapayapaan ni Mary at saka ni Joseph. Diba? Ewan ko kung umiiyak na si Jesus na dahil sa dami ng tao. Maraming gustong tumingin, sumisilip-silip, titingnan ko ano nangyari. Pero lalo sila nag-wonder with awe kasi yung kwento ng mga pastor, nakakita daw sila ng anghel, and in the end, a choir of angels came and sang them the glory. Ah, si Mary started to ponder this in her heart. Bigla na lang siya nagmamasid. Pero siguro sa kanyang pagmamasid, meron din siya, sabi niya, totoo ba to ang nangyayari? Sinasabi ng mga pastor na to, ito daw yung Son of the Most High, pero ganito ang kondisyones ng kanyang panganganak. Pwede ba to? So sabi niya, how lowly the circumstance. Pero tinanggap niya. Tinanggap niya ang kahirapan, tinanggap niya ang kaliitan, at doon niya na unti-unti nagsimula siyang unawain ang pamamaraan ng Diyos. Doon niya nakilala, ganito pala ang tunay na Diyos. Ganito ang kanyang kilos. Hindi sa bongga, hindi sa maraming bagay, hindi. In the ordinariness of life. Alam niyo mga kapatid, ang mga nanay natin, kayong mga nanay, hindi naman kayo kailangan maging bonggang damit kapag nag-aalaga ng mga bata. Diba? Pero ang mas mahigit po doon ay yung inyong kalinga. Yung inyong tunay na pagmamahal sa mga bata. Sa inyong niluwal. Yung inyong concern, yan po ang sabihin natin, the greatness of a mother. In whatever circumstances po, kayo ay nagluwal ng tao sa mundo ito. Unawain niyo po, siya rin ay galing sa Diyos. Anak din yan ng Panginoon. So tama lang po, pag-ingatan, mahalin ang totoo, at siyempre sa kaliitan, pagsilbihan. It's not the bigness that is asked of mothers. It's rather the greatness of love that is demanded by the needs of a weak and defenseless child. So, nakahanap po ako huli ng isang magbibigay sa atin ng kanyang life testimony as a mother to her children.
Hi, let me introduce myself. I am Marixa Kiray Manyalak, married to Beda Manyalak. I'm a terribly shy person, but with a bit of prodding, I'm here to share with you stories of my life as a mother. We have two children, a daughter, Kyla, she's 26 years old, and a son, Noah, he's 22. I worked for about 8 years with Philippine Airlines, but when Kyla was 2 years old, I decided to stop working and devote myself to being a full-time mom. When Noah was born, I was already a full-fledged homemaker. Let me go back a bit on my family background. I have two younger siblings, Mark and Clara. My dad worked and was the breadwinner. He provided us with a comfortable life. My mom, she worked in a bank for a while, but eventually took charge of our home. She was a hands on mom. She was always there for us. Our food was always good because she was a good cook. She also knew how to sew clothes. She brought us to school and sometimes brings our baon for lunch para it's still hot. Well, maybe we were a bit spoiled. She was active in the Alumni Association and also in our village where she would organize block rosary for families. Mom and dad would watch our ballet recitals, competitions, school presentations, and other activities. So, in my growing years, I can say that my mom was very visible to me and present to me and my siblings. Why am I sharing this? Maybe because the way I was brought up is somehow the way I want to bring up my children. I felt secured and loved, and I want my children to feel the same way too. I can say that my mom has a great influence in the way that I'm bringing up my children. So, going back to my story, how did the decision come about that I will have to resign and only 2 years after marriage? Where will we get our income? Why stop working and lose all the travel privileges? The decision definitely wasn't easy. Beda and I discussed and prayed about it for a very long time. Seeing Kyla cry and running after me every time I would leave for work made me decide to stop working altogether. Malambot ang puso ko. But we felt we made the right decision because we felt at peace with it. Even if I would tease Kyla now that it's her fault that we can't travel free anymore. When Kyla and Noah were both little, that's about 15 to 20 years ago, I would drive them to school every day, rain or shine, at different schedules, so I was on the road almost the whole day. Can you imagine me pouring their vitamins into teaspoons and giving it to them while driving? That's every morning before dropping them off in school. How about parking the car very far on a typhoon day because the parking lot in school was full and I had to bring them to the school gate with their big roller bags with two umbrellas, making sure they don't get wet, and go back to the car all wet when it was raining so strong. How about getting nervous whenever the school doctor calls? I've had a few of those. One time, they called to say that Noah had a pencil stuck on the palm of his hand. I found out that a boy pushed him and the lead of the pencil pierced him. I had to rush Noah to the ER. Being the ever-present protector of my son, I even warned his classmate who did it never to go near him again, and he never did. These are a few anecdotes that I love to share. One can say that I have always been a protective mother. Bonding moments were always there, especially during the car rides to and from school, when I asked them how school was, stories about friends, teachers, what they learned, what they look forward to, what they want to do. Even studying moments were bonding times. I helped them with their homework and reviewed them for tests. I would even be so creative in studying with them that we would play games. In short, there were no tutors, just me being a hands on mom. When they would get honors, I would give myself a pat on the back and say, "Good job, mom." The simple joys of being a mom is seeing your children happy and achieving. Aside from being their driver and shooter, I was also their nurse whenever they would get sick. I can never forget the time when Noah had a lump on his neck and he had to undergo a lot of tests and procedures with all the needles at such a young age. We would pray over him every night until he memorized the Our Lady Mary Mediatrix of All Grace healing prayer. When the day of the surgery came, he was so brave and knew he would be all right because we prayed over him. The joys of being a mother is seeing how daily prayers as a family have strengthened the faith of my son. Okay, so while all of us moms have roles to be prayer warriors for our kids, we also find ourselves in the roles of being party planners for birthday parties. With Kyla's themed party of Little Mermaid, I engaged her in planning the games, prizes, and making the decors together. To this day, my kids have fond memories of their celebrations and milestones. Beda and I are happy we are building happy memories with them. Proverbs 22 verse 6 says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it." At a young age, Beda and I have taught our children to pray. We go to Mass together and pray together. We believe that it is in the home where you first teach your children about God. I'm not a theologian nor a Bible scholar, but I'm a mom who taught my kids that we have a loving God, and so I always encourage them to pray, talk to God, and thank Him every day for all the blessings. I remember that every single day for 20 years, as I would bring Kyla and Noah to school, we would pray in the car. Even if they were sleepy, I would wake them up to pray with me. We take turns leading the prayers, and I also ask them to pray for their special intention for the day, whether it be for an exam, a sick classmate, or for a project they have to finish. This has become a good habit, and until now, before we leave the house, we say a prayer for each other. It is also a blessing that our family is part of ang Ligaya ng Panginoon Catholic community. Here, families share the same teachings and values which have helped us live a daily life of daily prayer and service. It's a wonderful coincidence that some friends from Evangelium Dei, our prayer group when we were still single, ended up as married couples and are also part of the same community. Amazing! And so our friendship from being single to married to having families continued, and our children are friends with their children. In the youth programs, our children have developed deeper relationships among their peer group through camps, retreats, prayer meetings, support groups. I believe that children at this stage need to be with their friends and with them discover for themselves about their faith. Beda and I have served with the youth for 10 years, and it's very fulfilling to see how these young people have grown to be more serious about their faith and they are able to serve and evangelize others. This is important for they will be the next leaders of the next generation. I like it when Kyla and Noah go out on dates with me. Sometimes I think Noah invites me so I can make him libre in his favorite expensive restaurant. But that's okay, as long as we have time together. Little dates like this allow me to be more in tune with what's happening in their life. I learned that teaching kids is not all about do's and don'ts, but also talking to them and understanding them. It starts with a good relationship. Sometimes they just need a listening ear. One time, Kyla told me, Mom, I don't need you to tell me what to do. I just want you to listen first to how I feel. Oo nga ano, that is so true. Sometimes we need to listen, and when we listen, we learn from our children. This is the part where it's a joy being a mother. Every weekend, we visit my parents, Lolo and Lola. We spend time with them, and we also used to travel together. But there were times when they got sick and I had to take care of them, talk to their doctors, and even stay with them in the hospital. I think the kids watching me take care of my parents have left a mark on them. It gave them compassion for those who are elderly and the sick. My father in law was staying with us at home till he passed away. When he got sick, Kyla and Noah would always drop by his room to chat and say a prayer for him. My father in law was very grateful, and I know my kids were happy to be able to make him smile. My children have learned to be generous. We are blessed with household help who stay with us for many years. They love my kids, and actually, they spoil them more than I do. Kyla and Noah say that they will go hungry if they leave because no one will cook their favorite dishes. They're really so funny. They tell our yayas not to get married and just stay with us until they get old. We treat them like they're part of the family. Children are very perceptive of what's happening around them, and they carry this when they grow up. Now, I see my kids sharing their blessings to them. Like Kyla buys the Yaya's pastries, and Noah includes them in his orders for burgers. What joy to see your children grow in generosity and kindness. But not everything was smooth sailing for me. When Kyla and Noah became teenagers, they didn't ask much help from me anymore with schoolwork, so it lessened the time that I was with them. They had clubs and school activities. They would go out with their friends, and I missed the bonding moments of picking them up from school and eating at McDonald's or go to the mall and just hang out. I would feel sad. During this time, nagkasabay pa, there would be class reunions. My classmates would talk about their status in life, being office executives with high positions and salaries, their accomplishments in different fields, their successful projects and businesses. And there I was with no credentials. So sometimes I questioned myself, why did I quit my job? I could be a VP now and earning so much. My life seemed ordinary compared to them. My life was made up of household chores. Wake up, prepare breakfast, drive to school, go to mass, do errands, take lunch, go to parent association meetings, pick up kids, prepare dinner, and sleep. Is this all I can do? Such an ordinary life. I would go then and spend time in the Adoration Chapel, praying and asking God for an answer. As I listened to him, he reminded me that this is where he wants me to be. He shows me the happy faces of my family. He shows me all the love I have been giving and receiving from them. What else could I ask for? The Lord has provided for us what we need, even if we lived only on one income. We have a beautiful home, we have food on our table, we have family and friends who love us, we are able to see new places together, laugh together, do things together. I look at how my children have turned out to be godly children who know of God's love, how to love and care for others. It's rewarding to see that because you have given them much love, so they have an overflow and share it with others. And from that moment, I realized that from the ordinariness of my life, there is holiness. There was a God who loved us, who was always there for us, and He must be pleased with our family. As Mama Mary saw the shepherds, angels, and kings worshiping Jesus, she felt God's holy presence in the silence of the night, in the stable where Christ was born. Like Mary, what a joy for me to discover that what I have been doing all these years has also bore good fruit. And so, as my children became adults, they became very independent. They learned how to drive, and my role as their master driver was extinguished. They went out with friends whom I did not know. I think I may have had separation anxiety. I worried about them, where they were, who they were with. But someone once told me, if you have brought them up well, you don't have to worry. You just have to trust them. This was a time when I had to let go and trust God, and with confidence believe that they will always remember the lessons that Beda and I together taught them in their younger years. All we can do now is to pray for them, even more now that they are out in the real world. Looking back, I'm grateful to the Lord for allowing me to have a full time job, the job of being a stay home mother. Seeing both Kyla and Noah now, all grown up, makes me a proud mother. I look in wonderment at my kids and recognize the value of my work. I know deep in my heart that Beda and I have raised them well by the grace of God. Kyla has a good career working in a bank, is an active leader with the young adults in our community, and is very generous of her time for others. She is a caring daughter and doting sister to Noah. Noah recently graduated, and for someone who is passionate with sports, found work in a big French sporting goods company. He also has a passion for singing and creating new businesses. He is a responsible son and acts like a kuya to Kyla. As parents, Beda and I are always here for them, even if they will have their families in the future. We will always be their cheerleaders. So you see, being a full time mom, it's a calling. It's different for everyone. I just feel blessed to have been there every moment of my children's growing up years. I am still a work in progress, and there are still so many new things to learn and to experience as a mother. Thank you for listening. I hope my stories were helpful. God bless all mothers.